Is there a picture on screen for people? Just out of curiosity, it's black screening on my live thing at the moment. Just making sure people can see stuff. You see something? Even if it's just... Stream is starting soon! Oh, I say stuff. YouTube. Have a look for myself. Very good idea, isn't it? That looks like it's working.
Hello, I'm BoredGamer.
No. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Right, just grabbing a drink. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I need to tweet. Live now on Twitch. Okay. Thinking about Star Citizen 2020. 3 point. What you might see. Star Citizen BoredGamer. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. There we go. Video out. Stream out. Don't worry about that. Close that. And then let's make the camera all camera-y. This up here. Bam. It's not normal for me to stream on the today's. Oh, is that good? Is that beautiful? Oh, look, my beautiful head's cut off. Need to see my shiny top of head. Yeah, tilt. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. No, I'm on the wrong wonk. There we go. Perfect. And you can see the top of my lovely dome and comb. How's everyone doing? I hope you're okay. There is a bit of delay today in my streaming. Don't know why there's so much of a delay, but it doesn't matter anyway because it takes me about 15 minutes to respond to questions. We'll watch this. This is was it 2016 Citizen Con Gamescom? It's the procedural Planets V2 original demo. Showing what Layer 3 was potentially going to be like in the future and some of the stuff like that. Got that in the background. We'll switch over in a bit. Wear your face and your coffee. Today I've got bottles of water. So we've got Asda brand, still lemon and lime. Not sponsored by them. Not sponsored. It's Walmart, I suppose, in the Americas, isn't it? It's the same parent company. Was this Sainsbury's? This might be Sainsbury's actually. I don't fucking know. It's all the same. It's not all the same, but it's. But it's part of my diet. I didn't want to keep on drinking Lipton iced tea, which is incredibly high in sugar, and this has no sugar in it. So I'm just filling myself full of sweeteners or something. I'm sweet enough. Shouldn't be able to do that at will, I don't think. So, if you've got any questions, question in brackets. I was going to say, why have I got blurry vision? It's because I'm not wearing my glasses and haven't slept very much. So one of the reasons I haven't slept very much is because I bought some copies of 40k 9th edition Indomitus, and I've been looking at the models in that, and you might see some of that stuff in the future. And what you will in the future. It might not be on my channel, but it'll be on my social media, and I'll probably cover it a little bit on my channel and occasionally talk about it on my streams at the very least, because I want to start showing 40k painting things and stuff like that. Not as a core of the channel or anything, but just something I do as my hobby in my spare time. Same as board games. That's something that I'll be doing a little bit more, dedicating a little bit more time to, even if it's extracurricular to the channel, or on my second channel or something, or just on social media. Someone sent me money, but I can't see. Oh, this guy. It appeared that you sent me money before money appeared. Aboard, hope you are well, and your family is as well. What do you think of the Q4 roadmap? Hey, were you as disappointed as we waited? Were you as disappointed we waited so long for 4 cards? Okay. And we will talk a lot about that in a minute. If I could read better, that would be better. Let's slap my my idiot baldness. Yeah, okay, we'll talk about the Q4 roadmap. We'll talk about what we might see in the future as well beyond that. I say beyond that as well as that for 3.12, potentially 4.0. Because we don't know for sure whether that patch is. It's currently listed as 3.12 on the roadmap, but there is a possibility of it being 4.0. And we'll talk about that. Any news on Wave 2 kicking off? I know from talking to some people that they're trying to get wider PTU as early as possible this week, and quite genuinely trying to get it out to live as soon as possible. It sounds like it's a live build push for the end of this week, if possible, along with new flyable / quality of life ship sale for 3.10. So we'll have to see exactly what goes on with that. It's going to be based on blockers. There's a load of problems with 3.10, and they're still dialing in targeting. So there was some changes in 3.10.0P's latest PTU patch to tweak targeting even more. So it'd be interesting to see where targeting goes, because they've gone slightly more towards being slightly more ergonomic again, which is fine. I want targeting to be hands-on and not give you all of the information in the world. and needs to be a little bit sort of like more, if you've got the right computer systems and gear and tools, then you can have more information on your UI, and you can have more information about what targets are going on in a wider cone and things like that. Great. But I don't think single-seater fighters should have all the targeting information in the world very easily. Just cycle through all targets that are like automatically detected and stuff like that. So I like the way that it was going, but maybe it was a bit too aggressive like that, and a bit overly sort of like fiddly. So you don't want it to be overly fiddly with targeting, for sure. Why do you think new gameplay mechanics aren't the current focus to add to the persistent universe? There are some new gameplay mechanics, that's just not the big ones. There's a lot of work going into the core tech of the game at the moment, and Squadron 42. So Squadron 42, obviously, looks to be their first fully released product when it comes out. Lion's share of development is going into that. But beyond that, there's some important core systems that are being worked on, which may immediately then allow for other things. So these are core systems like docking, physicalized components, physicalized inventory, updates to cargo, tractor beams, the refinery stuff, the cargo decks. It's all super important, and a lot of that then leads on to quite more expansive mechanics and like the dynamic mission system. Obviously, they're working on the iCache, they're working on server meshing. So they're working on these super important core systems, which then allow for all these other gameplay loops to be built out without huge amounts of technical debt. Do you see what I mean there? We talked about some of this the other day in a video. I don't think I really sort of drew the conclusion back properly, because I sort of more said people are entitled to their opinions, and we don't really know to what extent exactly what technical debt and how the game engine is, how overburdened is the game engine, or is it constantly being refactored, and how much work is going into that, and how suitable is it for the backbone of the game versus constant iteration and stuff like that. So we don't know is the truth behind that. We assume that it's getting into a reasonably good place, which is why it's taken so long for development, but it's possible that it's in a shamble. So we need sort of Cloud Imperium to talk a bit more about that to reassure people, I think. But I do think there's a lot of work going into some of the core systems of the game, which lead on to, if they get the tractor beams for 3.10 like they said they want to, and the culling tool and all that sort of stuff, and then the ability to have physical components, then you'd have salvage and repair tier 0 as well at the same time. Do you see what I mean? Do you think Squadron 42 will drop a beta this year? No. So if they have a beta for the game, it will be an internal beta for their testers. Maybe the Evacar team might get a quick look before the game gets released, but probably not. Not with Evacar leaks and stuff. But yeah, in a minute, I want to go through in a bit more detail the 3.12 patch, and what else we might see, and what else Cloud Imperium have talked about. Physical ship components are coming with push and pull, yeah? So they're working on push and pull for 3.11, I believe. And obviously they want gravity tool and push and pull for physical components. Physical components should come with that feature, yes, already in there. Otherwise, it's possible that it won't, but it looks likely that it will. Obviously, you've got like Vulkan integration and lots of updates to the network code. Leaks are one of our five a day. I will get some proper merch up at some point as well, because Zin working for me starting next week full time. Should be pretty good. I'm going to get her to do my 3.10 tutorial, so she'll have fully filmed that. It will just be my voiceover, and I say my script, but script such as it is, my bullet points. Actually, my tutorials probably follow more of a script than my other content does. Do you think the roadmap should still have a pillars card so we can see the progress on key features being worked on in the background? At the very least, yes. Really, I want to see a feature roadmap showing all the features that they need for completion of the game. It doesn't need to appear on exactly when they're going to be worked on, but I would like to see where they're prioritised and if they're being worked on. But yes, iCache, Vulkan integration, all that sort of stuff. So server meshing doesn't look like it's going to be done this year, obviously. Thank you very much, Bearded Miner. Very much appreciated. But subbings, all the subbings, thank you. It's come up twice that you've subbed. 3 months already. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, mate. I will try to keep up whatever work I'm doing. So, yeah, server meshing not this year. That's not the plan anyway. They wanted to have it almost ready by the end of this year, is what they originally said. Hopefully they'll be able to have that within a quarter or two of that estimation. But iCache, Vulkan integration, something towards full persistence, lots more network code, Gen 12 renderer stuff with Vulkan integration. Hello, my dear. When do you think we'll have physical inventories? Okay, so a lot of questions are going to be about this. So let's bring this up. They've added 3.12 to the roadmap, okay? But they haven't put many cards on it. We know that the refinery decks and its associated gameplay and more expanded gameplay has been moved from 3.11 to 3.12. And we still got the beep, 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 on my location. Still got cargo decks in 3.11 though, so bear that in mind. Now, 3.12's roadmap, this set of features, this tiny set of features, will be added onto. It's like they checked these ones on there to give us something while they add some more over the next few weeks to actually flesh out the patch. So they're working out exactly what's going to be in there, what they think is going to be in there, all that sort of stuff. Now, other things that we know that they are working on, some of which they've said they're going to be done for the end of the year. A physical inventory system. They've been building with the new UI building blocks tools, UIs for inventory. So a physical inventory system, that should be in for the end of the year. That should be in for 3.12. Other things that they've been working on. Now, Crusader and Orison, they said that's not going to be ready for 3.12. And they're going to split Crusader because it's so big and it's going to have a lot to it. And Orison, they're going to split between Q1 and Q2 of 2020. So that's the plan there. A little bit annoying they delayed that. However, there's lots and lots of work that's been going into other bits of the Stanton system, like the Aaron Halo, like some points of interest, like Gas Cloud Tech. So expect to see potentially some of that for the 3.12 patch, the Q4 patch for this year. That's very likely. Now, other things that they've been working on. Vulkan integration of the Gen 12 renderer. That looks to me like we will see at least the first iteration of Vulkan. So Vulkan and DirectX 11 sort of like are working alongside each other. Well, you know what I mean. But not just Vulkan integrate, not just Vulkan, but Vulkan and DirectX 11 in the first stage by the end of by 3.12's live build. That's what looks likely to me. We've been waiting for Vulkan for a long time. They've talked about wanting to get that in this year, but we'll have to see. There's a load of back-end services that are supposed to be coming online, and loads of fixes that will prevent as many 30k issues, but also it's more sort of like redundancy for chat servers, login servers, all that sort of stuff is all being worked on. They've sort of got all these like modular components now of their code and their tech, so they can much more easily manage the technical tech debt, as I understand it. There's obviously lots and lots of server and networking improvements as well they've got planned. What was the other major thing that they've got planned for Q4? I can't remember. It'll come back to me in a minute. But so we've got tractor beams for the multi-tool, so a little module that goes into multi-tool that allows it to move stuff around in mostly EVA, but I suppose it will allow it to move around in gravity areas as well, because it's a tractor beam maybe. I suspect it will allow you to move stuff around. It will only be relatively small items, or add to the pull. Maybe if lots of you get together and tractor beam something, you can move a larger component. But the idea is that, yeah, it's going to be used for moving cargo, it's going to be used for moving components and weapons and that sort of stuff. And if you have tractor beams, if you have physicalized inventory, if you have the iCache, some of this stuff, then if you also have physicalized components, you are able to then do salvage and repair pretty easily with these features, because you just need to remove weapons and components and then put them back in your ship or take them to be sold. That's salvage, that's repair. We know subcomponents have been worked on as well, so that's little components that you put in other larger ship systems, and that could be used for repair as well, but obviously also to customize your components and ship further. One of the other cool things actually with 3.10 is that they've added almost all the remaining ships that are flyable in game to be purchasable in game. So you want to buy a Carrack, you buy a Carrack. You want to buy an 898 jump, you can buy an 898 jump. Quite expensive. It was like 32 million for the 890 jump and things like that. They just added the Prowler and the Cutlass Blue. Great. It's a very, very, very few ships. Just the Sabre, Raven, just the Scythe, just the Glaive, I think, and the Greycat Rock that are not, and the Mustang Omega, and the, certain skins like the Dragonfly, Starkit and stuff. That's the only things that aren't buyable in game. So other things, I would expect them to be working on some gameplay loops. Now, there's a mystery armor. I think they're pushing towards bounty hunting because I think they want bounty hunting in the pyro system. And I think that the outlaw gameplay and the reason they get prisons and stuff like that is because of pyro. They want pyro to have a huge part in the short to medium term in the persistent universe. Now, could we see pyro in 3.12? Yes, we could. Star Citizen leaks have talked about them potentially wanting to have 3 to 4 planets into a 2-stage pyro release. You don't need server meshing to have pyro because server-side object container streaming can actually just deal with 50 players. Doesn't matter where they are because they just turn off parts of the server. So that sort of makes sense. Pyro is a big possibility for 3.12, as is bounty hunting gameplay, a little bit more expansive than it currently is. It's possible that we could see like data running and data as cargo. The UI system that they're building for other stuff probably would allow that, but we don't know. But it's just because we've got the Mercury Star Runner in 3.11, it makes it slightly more likely they're going to have data running sort of missions and things like that. We know that they've got the C2 Hercules planned for 3.12, but they haven't put it in as a card yet. But as I said, there's going to be a lot more features being added to this in the coming weeks. Do you think we'll get the C2? And when we get it, we'll get the M2 and A2 at the same time, or they come later. I think the M2 and the A2 will come later, but probably not too far later. What's your favourite ship on paper among all the ships released or still in concept? On paper, when it's fully working, probably the Reclaimer. I like the idea of treasure hunting. I like the idea of making huge hauls of money, and it's a big. It's Nostromo. It's nom nom nom. It's money in the bank. It's been very quiet for Theatres of War now. Was that not planned for the first half of 2020? So they wanted to have testing of it in the first half of 2020, and they have had some testing of it in the first half of 2020. It's obviously not in everyone's hands yet. So after 3.10 is released, within a couple of weeks, I would expect to see another Eva Carty test of Theatres of War. That looks to be the plan to me. And then once that's in a bit more of a stable state, then expected to go to a wider testing group on a weekender, as it were. What am I doing? Boop. Boop. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, but I think physical inventories are probably some of the more important things that they need to get in the game as quickly as possible, and that allows you to have then sort of like the gear and weapon lockers on ships being more functional and important. You don't want to be able to just go, well, I've got all the gear in the world with me. Doesn't matter. I can just switch into my armor whenever. You want to have to actually physically go to a locker, change your gear, change your weapons. That's going to change the way you play the game a lot more. They obviously talked about hospitals as well, so it looks like they were trying to get hospitals in the game, potentially for 3.12. As well. That would just have you respawn at hospitals, but also have your player status. So if you've got poisoned, if you've got sick, if you've got problems like that, if you've got crippled limbs, you'd go to a hospital to have them treated. Can you speak on the trading app and how do you feel about it, please? So the trading app, really basic at the moment. So that allows you in 3.10 to send merits or alpha UEC to another player. It's like a tiny amount of tax on that. I think tax will, in the future, be a bit dynamic, but the idea is there you can just search for a player, bam, 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 on Mobiglass, send them alpha UEC or merits. Mostly that stuff's going to be alpha UEC, I suspect. That gives money a lot more value and allows you to do a lot more in the game when it comes to coordination and paying off teammates for doing mining ops together and things like that. Giving prizes for things, even, I don't know, whatever you want to do. So that's a huge change. Now, eventually, and I think they're building UIs for this at the moment, that's going to evolve into a proper trade system where you can actually drag items and potentially other assets and then actually do proper trade with a proper handshake and work out what's going on. At the moment, it's just a one-way thing, so a little bit more volatile, a little bit more dangerous. I just take questions from everywhere. Does this game make people dumb? Probably, some people. You tell me, Heavy Bob. Any predictions on when CIG are likely to rebuild the Poly? What? Oh, there's an ice cream van outside. Apparently. Poly? What am I talking? What's Poly? Would it be Poly? Would it be Poly? Port Olisar. Port Olisar, of course. Let's call it PO. Once we have cargo decks and refinery decks, I would expect Port Olisar to be replaced. Well, actually, probably at the thinking about it for more than 1 second, almost certainly when they update Crusader. So when they've got Crusader and Horizon, they'll want to update Port Olisar at the same time, almost certainly. I know all the questions to get a smile from people. You monster. Hope you're doing well, sir. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope people have not gone a bit, It's, so I stream via Restream, Kerwas. Whatever floats your boat. Hull series? Question mark? Okay, so we know that the Hull C, as far as we are aware, is completed for Squadron 42's needs. That does not mean it's ready for the persistent universe, and there was a lot of technical problems with it and getting it to actually have a morphing physics grid and have its spindles, and then they need updated cargo to put on those spindles so that it's not just loads of tiny individual boxes which would cause the servers to implode. And they need the iCache. They need iCache for a lot of stuff. They need iCache for physical inventory. They need it for physical components. They need it for the Hull C. They need it for Cargo 2.0. Need it for like everything. It's core to the game. But they are either now currently working on the final prerequisites of the Hull C and getting it in the persistent universe. Well, that's what we know they're doing. So could we have it for 3.12? Could we have it for the end of the year? Potentially. It literally depends on whether it is planned for the end of the year or not. I think they could if they were working on it. But the news of HP Omen working towards selectively breeding genetically superior game at what? What? You're a monster. The future's all we've got with Star Citizen. Look to the future. I can think of some great taglines. That's backhanded compliments to Star Citizen. Jite, I love you. I'm building a flight yoke throttle pedal rig for Flight Sim 2020, and it's expensive. Will I be able to use this rig reliably for Star Citizen without key bindings becoming unresponsive? Thanks. I suspect once they've... I would expect you to be able to get it working for Star Citizen pretty well. Even if you have to set it up like a more derpy, almost keyboard interface. You should be able to get it working. I've got loads of weird shit working with Star Citizen. I had my Oculus DK2 and a tracked light gun working with Star Citizen at one point. The guy with the ridiculously long, unnecessary username. What a beautiful name. And you're right, it is unnecessarily large. Something your mum said. What? What else have we got here? We wish Zin all the best. Good luck, Zin. Yes, so she's starting working for me as the plan, starting from the 1st of August properly. She's been looking at 3.10 and the updates and stuff. It's sort of like been massively delayed with getting Zin working for me by about a year. But that's because I wasn't sure the company could sort of afford it. But now I've realised that it can sort of afford it-ish at the moment. Not really, but that was assuming that she didn't bring and add any value. And I do expect to be able to get more streams out, to be able to get more videos out, and for those videos to well, at least the videos to be of a higher quality. Because we're able to get better B-roll and stuff like that. And I won't be as lazy. I can't be as lazy anymore. Because I want to expand the company. I want to improve the videos. I want to get some better videos. I want to do some more stuff. Will the development speed increase in the future? It looks like it will, because as they gear, as they finalize their tools like they are at the moment, and finish off assets and sort of like the procedural tools for these things, then they can just build them. And as they finish the core of the game and the things that are bottlenecks, like getting the building block tools out and stuff like that for UIs, that allows them to much more quickly, rapidly iterate and build these things out. Getting Squadron 42 out the door as well is going to help a huge amount, because that should mean a lot more hands on deck for more for more persistent universe focused things. When do I think we'll be using UEC rather than Alpha UEC? A few years down the line. It's a while off. Anyone want news on the Taurus? I recently bought one. It's my only ship. Well, it's interesting you ask that, because one of the things they saw that might appear in 4.0 or 3.12 is the Constellation Taurus and the Parasite docking. They've been working on that inside Star Citizen, and they showed it recently, and they went, look, we're actually working on it now. We're doing the expanded cargo bay of the Taurus, and we're working on Parasite docking, undocking, and a automatic landing undocking procedure for the P-52, P-72, and the Constellations. So that looks to me like that's a 3.12 thing, Q4 thing. Do you think server meshing will be a silver bullet for performance? So it's core to the game. Nothing is a silver bullet for performance for Star Citizen until they polish. The silver bullet for performance is getting everything into a state which they can then polish for a beta. Yeah? That's a while off. Because there's a load of stuff that's a mixture of either client-side performance or server performance, or both, that cause hugely different issues. But things that are going to help, yeah, server meshing will help, certainly for the servers, but there might be a load of bugs and problems in the short term with that when they release that. The Vulkan and Gen 12 renderer stuff, client side, that's going to be huge performance gains, as far as I'm aware. Do you think Cloud Imperium is hiding the progress they're making on Squadron 42? Yes. Well, obviously they are. They're not showing any progress. They're not showing it at all. They're not showing the roadmap or anything. I'm not sure why they're doing that. As far as I'm aware, they're not too far behind on schedule, even with the global lockdown and all this sort of stuff and working from home. Should Cloud Imperium refund people that die before the game releases? What, pay towards their funeral costs or something? I don't even want to refund subs that die before. You monster. Morphologist's intro with the Terrapin is in his R Torpedoes OP video. It's one of the most beautiful sequences I've seen from a streamer. No pressures in. I know, right? She, I do constantly reference Morphologists and Mr. Haskahar and Alexander Belov, Nirian, all these people who do amazingly beautiful things. Will the gas planet tech also lead to volumetric clouds on other planets too? Okay, so the coil and space cloud tech is different from gas giant tech, which is different from ground fog, which is different from clouds and weather. They might have some related graphical things and other things that are related, but they are all effectively different use cases and different work. Although some of the work might be reused in bits. They are all being worked on though in different aspects though. So what I'd say is, genuinely with refunds with Cloud Imperium, if you need the money, even if it's out of your refund window, ask Cloud Imperium, explain the situation. I know people that have got refunds, I know people that haven't got refunds. They obviously are reasonably capitalist because they're a business, and they're trying to make money, but they're also very community-orientated in the fact that they don't want negative press, and they do want to some of the people handling those situations are obviously going to want to help. So, some people have been honoured in game, isn't the Riker spaceport? I think that potentially might be named after a backer, or that might just be named after William T. Riker. Could we see wildfire on planets? That's a possibility. They've been working on fire tech for a little while, having propagating fire on ships and then water/fire suppression systems. So yeah, maybe we could see lava planets. Maybe we could see wildfire on planets. Things catching like that. That would be cool if that's a thing. It might be more situated just for missions or like a weather effect, more than actually affecting the area properly. Because I don't think they want to overly damage or affect terrain in the game. Hello. I'd love to see wildfire on planets. Their fire tech is quite early at the moment. It's a mixture of like sign distance field and pretty things. The fire effects and things I've seen. Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to go crazy with a load of this stuff. I want to play a economy and a giant MMO economy space sim game. Yeah, that's what I want to play. And all the other bits that they've planned for it, and all the other cool bits, awesome, love it. But get me my MMO space game. Yeah, I think we all want the game where a lot of us are happy to wait a long time for it, but I do want it at some point. So this is was shown off. This is the 2016, I think, Procedural Planets V2 demo. Was it CitCon 2016? Yes, it was. This is actually quite a while ago. I switched over to something either Squadron 42 demo or the Microtech demo, and we'll talk more about that as well. Hey, it's me, Bored. Hey, you alright, Sally G? How the devil are you, buddy? When can we see the Where's the Squadron 42 video t-shirts? That I will be making Zin make some Star Citizen meme-ish t-shirts. I have to avoid encroaching on Cloud Imperium's IP, but we can mention things like that. So you will probably actually see something like that appear. I'll probably get it integrated into my channel with is it Teespring or is it TeePublic? Whatever they use. Having roaming NPCs in Cyclones would actually make ground combat interesting. Yes. So NPC spawn lockers is one of the other things that I think will probably come in 4.0. Or sorry, 3.12. Because they wanted these earlier, but so they want NPC scheduling. So the ability to spawn, despawn, physicalize NPCs based on the needs of an area. And then they could have that actually producing ground combatants and stuff like that. They do need to get the AI able to pathfind and be sensible on the ground and use vehicles. And I think that once we have missions where we have to defend areas, defend escorts, go to the ground, take out a facility, defend a facility against waves of enemies that come along, things like that, that'll be a lot more fun. There'll be a lot more going on. There'll be reasons to use ground vehicles, and if we have to defend stuff. And you can have it be defended for a long period of time. You can have it defended like over a few hours, if you have ground vehicles and stuff there as well. That'd be great. Do you think repairing will be done after salvaging? I think that we'll see probably as tier 0 salvage and repair at the same time. Very, very similar. But yes, I think they'll evolve together. Is Star Citizen playable with an Xbox controller? Yes, and some people use controllers, PlayStation controllers, Xbox controllers, and other control devices. It's a lot more playable on an Xbox controller in 3.10. I'll tell you that. What we got? Looking healthy, boy, thanks. I desperately wanted to have takeaway yesterday, but I decided to go for a run instead. It made me sad. you think there's a chance that Horizon or Pyro will get in game by the end of the year? So they basically said that Horizon and Crusader is planned for Q1, Q2 2021. Split over those two patches. Pyro actually is a possibility. It looks like to me that they are trying to push for Pyro by the end of the year. At least some of Pyro. Do you think the repairing will be done after salvage? We talked about that. I appreciate the love. Appreciate it. I know lots of people message me constantly about, you're doing a great job. We love you. It's like, I make content and talk about Star Citizen. I don't think it's like changing the world or helping that much. But I do appreciate that I have the freedom to be able to create content on a game that I love and build that up and build that community up. And I'm looking forward to playing it with a huge amount of people and doing lots of social and economy things. Because like the Eve Game Fest stuff, like those are huge social affairs and lots of sort of like planning and org making and alliance making and alliance breaking and stuff like that. I love those elements of games as well. I want to get heavily involved in that. What system has the biggest technical debt that no one is talking about? Everything is about server meshing, IQ, but what about old crap code that needs replacing? Yeah, so you say no one's talking about, I literally did a video talking about it the other day, and I'd like Cloud Imperium to make more of a statement on it. I know they're putting a lot of stuff in much more modularly, and they've done a huge amount of code updates, bringing it in sort of like a line with what they're doing going forward without having constant refactors, just minor, more little iterations constantly, which is apparently what you should be doing. But I would like them to have a bit of more of a statement on how the game's progressed and changed. Zacharil, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Ad hominem. Bored, are you a lover of the men? Well, my sexuality is none of anyone's business other than who I choose to share that with. Always a weird thing. But no, I'm not. But I wouldn't mind if I found a beautiful man. Why not? I don't know. I always find it weird. Okay, so I will share. That question's only relevant, really, to your person that you're trying to attract. I've always found. Hello, I'm into you. I'm into you too. Great. Perfect. Where the Idris mission? So the Idris mission is not in game currently. It's going to be the Arlington gang mission. Is probably going to be the first full Idris mission that you have. Well, I say that we had the Idris and Javelin in at Fleet Week, which was a cool little fly around. Yeah. They were combat ready very derpily. But you should see a better Arlington gang chain mission, where at the end of that chain was like six missions, I think. There'll be a combat ready interest that you fight, which needs to be done in a large group, and that could possibly be for 3.12 as well. I know they wanted it in a while ago. How likely will there be a server wipe for 3.10? Cloud Imperium have said it's a possibility, but they don't know. We don't know. It's 50-50 at the moment. Do you think the Hercules Starlifter M2 will be released this year? No. I think the C2 will be released this year, but not the M2. Is there any information or any news on the Endeavour or the Pioneer? No. No new news. Once server meshing is tier 0 and it's released, do you think the player count per server will be increased? Not per server, but... So... Maybe per server. But so server meshing allows for multiple servers to be stitched together. So there's still going to be a hard cap on how many players can be in an area. Yeah. But then you can have loads and loads of areas that then can have players move across between them. Yeah. So you could have the standard system with lots of 50-player servers on. You see what I mean? But one's on Hurston, one's on Lawville, and you move between them. Yeah. So you have like 1,000 people in the Stanton system that are all sharing that system, but they move into different servers, so it might be a bit... Merchantman, Reclaimer, functional. Merchantman's not in game yet. Reclaimer's not functional yet. Well, I mean, it's flyable. It's got the more complicated salvaging of more salvaging, so it tractor beams things into its mouth and crushes them. But they look like they're building tractor beams for Q4, so the handheld ones. It'll be a while before we have that form of salvaging, in my opinion. Do we think the Mercury Star Runner gets done before the end of the year? Looks like it's on course for the Q3 patch, so in a couple of months. Hey BG, any idea what they know minimaps? They actually showed off some minimaps a little while ago for Squadron 42's needs, and they are working out other ways of having navigation and being able to see where you are on planets and things like that. So we might see minimaps, we might see deeper, better maps in general in the not too distant future. They are reworking the star map at the moment, we know. With 3.11 at the Grey Cat cutting tool and 3.12 with the Grey Cat tractor tool, do you think that it's a sign for Tier 0 salvage? Yes, I think that it looks to me that that's what they're trying to do for 3.12 as well. When could we see wildlife on planets? So we know they're actually concepting and doing some bits for wildlife. I expect to see like Ranta and things like that in the not too distant future. I think the space cow is one of the things they wanted to get in the game as soon as possible. You could see that next year. You might see something like that for CitizenCon. Obviously CitizenCon 2020 has been cancelled, so that's the sort of stuff you would see at CitizenCon though. I would expect to actually see CitizenCon early next year, or earlier next year, sort of like first quarter, end of first quarter sort of thing. Do you think Apocalypse Arms will make a comeback soon? I mean, they're going to have lots of new weapons and stuff for them, and lots of stuff's going to be tweaked and balanced. I hope you're not... Well, you're a very functional set of algorithms, Shite. Solid mod. Appreciated. Oh, Shite, are you able to, at some point, email me, contact@boardgamer.co.uk, and just say hi, so I can send you some stuff. Bit silly question, when do you think we'll see some of the helmet interactions they showed off before? Animation, taking off the helmet and putting it on and holding it in your arms. Yes, so they've sort of got the basis of that it just sort of like spawns off your head, but they don't grab it yet. I would expect to see them add it in the not too distant future. Probably see that pretty soon, actually. You think we'll see any new concept sales this year? Yes. So the things that... Some stuff's going to go straight to flyable. Some stuff's going to still be concepted, though. So they are moving towards more straight to flyable things, for sure, and just less just random concept ships constantly. Things that we sort of like have heard about, the RSI Odin gunboat, that's a possibility. And we've got the Tavaran Light Fighter, the mobile refinery, the Xi'an cargo ship. Is there anything else that we know might happen? The Redeemer reconcept, but not really new, is it? There's probably some other stuff there as well. Will they be doing a virtual CitizenCon? No, so they've cancelled CitizenCon. They said there's not going to be a CitizenCon this year. They're doing something instead of CitizenCon, like a more a community celebration thing around the 10th of October. You'll still see the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo on the end of November, which is the big giant sale. Why are you such a legend? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, Mad Rambo. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Regarding hero missions, do you agree there seems to be more emphasis towards criminal activity? At the moment, yes. That will not be the case once we have Crusader and we have Batista and Gibbs there. Because they're going to be lawful. So at the moment, it's either neutral or criminal based. Those hero missions at the moment in the standard system. I assume we'd get some sort of update or preview video from RSI to replace CitizenCon this year. They talked... Oh, they might do some updates and cool stuff. This would be a great way to keep hype up and grab headlines. What do you predict we'll be getting? I expect to see a CitizenCon early-ish next year. For CitizenCon, instead of CitizenCon this year, I'd expect to see some cool in-game eventy stuff, a little sale, maybe an event where you get attacked by stuff. Maybe they did the Xeno threat thing. Maybe they'll do another Fleet Wiki type thing. Nothing like super major. We might see some cool videos and teasers as well. What's the latest word on the Redeemer? There isn't really a latest word on the Redeemer at the moment. That is Star Citizen. And that is the 2016 Star Citizen video. I'm going to switch over to Squadron 42 on the... Boop. I had a message in Lawville about carrying fauna. Will we have pets soon? I think it's quite possible that we'll have flare pets. So, literally, terrariums and things like that as flare. That's probably the first iteration you'll see of things like that. What else have we got here? Do you think prison will actually be a deterrent with it being so easy to escape with your org's help? They're changing prisons so you'll see changes in 3.11 and 3.12 with more dynamic prison missions, it being a bit changed, it being a bit more hard. You have to wait for times to escape, and you have to get key cards and things like that. And there'll be some guards and that sort of stuff. So prison escapes will be changing and a bit more dynamic, and they're not going to just be, I know how to escape from a prison now, I can escape anytime I want. So that they are going to serve a purpose, prisons. And that will be to incentivize players to not do bad things in certain areas. And to take those players out of the player pool briefly, at least. I'd love to have a Squadron 42 release date. Oh. Other than the C2, and perhaps the other variants, what's this next similarly sized ship to be fully built, do you think? What? What? I don't understand the question very well. Shift Studios. Do you think we will see the Squadron 42 systems rolled into the PU when Squadron 42 goes out or goes to beta? So, yeah, so at some point, probably around the same time Squadron 42 goes live, I would expect to see Odin and stuff like that in the game. It depends on the priorities. It depends on how much effort the priority system needs before it can be put into the persistent universe. So it looks to me like Cloud Imperium are probably working towards the Odin system. So that would be Stanton, Proro, Nyx. Odin straight away after that? Sort of makes sense to me. We've got Nyx, we've got Delamar already, which is supposed to be in Nyx. That's in the standard system, that will be moved out. Could you tell us something new about the Banner Merchantman? It looks like the Polaris is going to be done before the Banner Merchantman. It was sort of implied. The Banner Merchantman's got some form of synergy with the Defender, but we don't know exactly what. The Banner Merchantman needs to be changed for the new metrics and stuff like that, so it will change in cargo capacity and size from what you expect. Will that be bigger or smaller? We don't really know. Has CIG or does even GIG know what they want game to hit a beta state? What? So Star Citizen, the Persistent Universe, the MMO, I don't suspect they do know when they want it to hit beta. Question: in case we are attacked by a player or NPC in a secure system, will we be able to call police for assistance? Yes, you can do that now. Well, you can do the ask at players now. In the future, the NPCs should just turn up, I believe, but there might be more of a beacon system to call for security help as well. But yes, they should come and assist you in those. I would expect it to be automatic, but it might be a call. Theatres of War. Whatever happened to that? So they've been testing it. They said a little while ago after the last test they did, they'll test it again once 3.10's out, because they want to put all of the 3.10 updates into Theatres of War before they test it again. And they sort of like, obviously that's been delayed by a reasonable amount because 3.10's not out yet. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. You change our worlds, a smile can go a long way. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Oh, shit, son. So, Ridge Wallet sent me a Ridge Wallet, and I'm considering them as a sponsor based on whether I like their products. I mean, they're cool. But I'll be playing around with this and seeing if I can damage it, seeing how likely it is for me to lose it. And if I like it, I think I do. I'll have them as a sponsor or an affiliate or something. I'm always happy to shill for products I like, but not for ones I don't like. That's why I don't do like stuff from Raid Shadow Legends or anything like that. Even though they pay a fuckload. Oh my god. Also, so things like NordVPN and Shadow, I love them because I use them and I think they're great. But does anyone watch Internet Comment Etiquette with Eric? So I love him. I think he's fucking hilarious, and I think he's the way he does ads on his channel. Like, he will do an ad for like 3 or 4 minutes, if not more, maybe make an entire episode on the ad. But they're just weird, comical, odd. Sometimes it's like, this product's shit, but buy it. I just love it. I just love it. I love the honesty with that sort of stuff. I think it's so important. How are player and assets safe? When the player's offline? At the moment, yes. However, we're not sure how persistence is going to be held when you like log off randomly in space in your capital ship. Are you totally safe there? Is there areas that you're going to be safe in? That it despawns your ship, stuff like that? We're not entirely sure yet. Could there be there will be places like you'll be able to log off with your character in your hab on like Lorville or something, and you'll be totally safe in the future. Yes, as far as I'm aware. Could there be V0 data missions in Microtech soon? Yes, there could certainly be some more in-depth missions that are data-esque missions, like the mission that we saw at CitizenCon 2019. Yeah, for sure. It looks like they're working towards that at the moment. That we know that they're working on some of the computer systems, so core computer systems for ships. So that's the ability to have AI blades doing different things. We saw some hints at some AI blades allowing your ships to do different things, or blades doing different things, in the Microtech store, the new factory line store for 3.10. Feels like Squadron 42 has slipped again. I think it might be released in 2022. I'd hope not. I'd hope it's a 2021 release. I'd hoped it was a 2020 release, but more realistically, I hoped it was a 2021 release. 2021. Yeah, so my expectation, I did a video on this a couple of years ago, is that they were building towards the Odin system, because the Odin system is the system that, at least what we've seen so far, is the focus of Squadron 42, although there might be other systems in Squadron 42 or another system in Squadron 42. And it looks to me like they can get that system in the Persistent Universe pretty quick afterwards, yeah? What do you think about the new Pico body armor? Is that just putting the penguin at your feet? That's a weird bug. But I love the little Pico penguin. I think it's a silly but cool touch. People were really angry when they had a knick-knack shop as one of the features of 3.10, but everyone's gone a bit mental for the penguin. They have physicalized blades, and the planet is covered in data centers, and the Star Runner will theoretically be there in 3.11. Yeah, I think we should start to see data as cargo missions and some data missions from 3.11 onwards, I suppose, is realistic. Even if they're quite basic. Do you think 4.0 will be the actual beta, or will it still be? It will still be an alpha. Game will still be an alpha. Game will still be an alpha for a long time. Do you think Cloud Imperium's feature team sizes are too small, too large, or just right? I think they're just right for certain things, too small for others, and too large for others. Probably it's going to be dependent on the feature. There's an efficiency thing, isn't there? That's going to keep on changing, and they keep on reprioritizing and looking at stuff and changing stuff around. And it's because they manage a playable alpha while also doing a development of the game. It's a bit of a weird one. It's an interesting sort of model they've got for their business. It's financially works obviously very, very well. Business-wise, it works very well. But for the development of the actual product, it is a lot slower. Now, you might argue we eventually get a better product out of that. You might argue the opposite. But,
keep up the good work, you bloody legend.
thank you very much, Small Z Oz. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And I will try and keep up whatever good work you think I am doing. Oh, I know what phone I'm going to get. So I'm going to get a... No, I've lost it. So my Notes Pro 9 something power 9. It's got a really nice camera on it. It's pretty good, and it suits all my needs. And it's big enough that I won't lose it, and I can use it for work as well. But also I want to be able to stream on it. I want to be able to record on it. I want to be able to take photos on it. When I go to events or whatever, so I can quickly get stuff done. But I can also use it for recording and audio work, and recording board games and things like that, and following my 40k, building armies and things like that too. Bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to bio real quick. Jay, you're in charge. Get some donations, you little cherry bitch. Hey. That's the sound of someone that is unhealthy and unfit sitting down. Yeah, that's how you know. You're one of the biggest Star Citizen streamers. Are there any chances to get interviews with people like Aaron, Brian, and Chris Roberts, etc.? Have you tried, and what do they say? So, yeah, last year, end of last year, end of the year before, 2018, I had interviews with Aaron. I've talked to Brian before. I haven't had an interview with Chris Roberts being recorded. I don't think. But I have asked him questions from CitizenCon and stuff like that when I've been there. Yeah, there are chances to do that in the future. I'm planning to get some office tours and stuff like that once the global lockdown situation is resolved. Recently, I read news that Chris Roberts, just about 3.4 million on a mansion. Do you think raised his eyebrows of some backers? What are your thoughts? He was relatively well off before he started Star Citizen. Like, they were renting. So I worked it out actually, literally looking at his assets, because the mansion thing was someone else had said that. They saved money by buying that mansion with a mortgage. They were paying a lot more per month in renting their beachside property, whatever it was. And they bought a house. That's more sensible financially. So my thoughts on that is that they had money before and they're allowed to buy a house. It's not as if they're buying constant yachts. There's a picture of Chris renting a yacht or something, which people keep on bringing up, like, look, he's buying yachts. It's like, he's on holiday. What are you talking about? Yeah, they were pretty well off before, and he pays himself. I would expect him to be on quite a good salary for his job. I wouldn't want him to draw dividends though on his current work. That'd be a bit pretty shitty, wouldn't it? Will the wind speed and direction be uniform, as is usually the case in real atmospheres? There is a wind map on planets, and there's some stuff with dynamic weather, but I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work fully yet. I'll look into it, but I think they need to develop and confirm it all. It will be uniform, but it's on a wind map, so it will change. See what I mean? I thought I saw a giant sandworm. You did. That was on Layer 3, but it was a tech demo test of procedural planets from 2016. Jack will be happy about the sandworm. Do you think it will be good if there was a persistent PTU running with constant micro updates, testing new current features and refining them weekly, daily? I would like to see a PTU constantly on, even when they've got a stable live build. Yes, for that purpose, yes. I think that's actually quite a good idea. When do you think the cloud tech they showed in the latest Inside Star Citizen will feature at spaceports and other areas? It's going to be for missions and points of interest and coming out of quantum and things like that as well. I'd expect to see that by the end of the year. Stuff that they show in Inside Star Citizen, a lot of it I expect by the end of this year. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Because the way they do their sprints, the way they do their staggered development, when they're working on something, they're either working on it for the next patch or the patch after, or it's something that's a longer ongoing thing. But the footage in the background at the moment is the vertical slice from Squadron 42 in 2017? It's the 2017 one. It's 2017, I think. So it's actually reasonably out of date. It should look significantly better. Boop. People keep on asking, when is Star Citizen? When is 3.10? But they ask, how is 3.10? And how is Star Citizen? No, they don't. They say they were stopping wipes to the alpha. So they now have the ability to save persistence, so your assets and data, your ships and your monies across from patch to patch. Does not mean they will always do that. Sometimes they're still going to need to wipe because they've either updated the databases or because there's bugs or something, or they're testing something. But it's much more often that you'll have assets saved. There will be a wipe before the game goes live, though, still. So, whatever. Do you think Cloud CIG will show off Crusader / Origin at the replacement CitizenCon as a hype tool? Potentially. I would expect to see something around that time as a what we've been working on between October to Christmas time. There's a load of sort of hype that they do, and a lot of look at the cool stuff we've been working on kind of thing. He produced Lord of War and Lucky Number 11, which were pretty good. Yes, both those films were pretty good. He also produced some crap as well. Outlander was alright. GFO Big Lebowski, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Very much appreciated, sir. There shouldn't be a PTU. The PTU is already a test alpha server. Yeah, but so the problem is that they have to maintain a playable experience on alpha. You can argue whether or not they do, but they should. The PTUs having one at the same time allows them to test stuff in a lot more rough state that they don't have to worry about how stable it is. Do you see what I mean? I think Outlander is the name of a film as well as a series. I think Chris Roberts did the film with the weird alien thing. Yeah, is that Outlander? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Any news on Titan suits? No, although some people think that the mystery armor in 3.12 is a Titan suit. I think it's either salvaging armor or bounty hunter armor stuff. Are there any plans you are aware of to have GPS-type navigation for planets and moons? They want navigation systems so that you can more readily navigate the universe at large, but also planets or moons. We don't know if that's going to be compass. We don't know if that's going to be GPS. We don't know if that's going to be coordinates. We don't know yet, but there's going to be something. Do you think that there will be able to identify players' names on foot with the lore system V2? At some point, you will be able to scan players, and you'll be able to find out people's names and stuff much more easily and readily than you can at the moment, while you're on foot. Will there be survival mechanics in Star Citizen hunting and gathering? Well, you can gather now, and nom nom nom, need to eat and drink, and there's going to be more player status effects and that sort of stuff. There's going to be dangerous animals on planets. There's also going to be some more benign ones like space cows, so I would expect to some degree, but I'm not sure exactly what gameplay loops are going to be associated with that. I would love big game hunting. I think that's one of the things I'd genuinely get into. Any speculation why we haven't seen anything from Chris Roberts lately? Because he's sort of working on the game in the background. They're sort of working on it rather than having them as frontmen. They've got the reasons they have like Disco Lando and stuff like that is so that they can be those people specifically can be community facing. Now, I would expect to see potentially Chris Roberts in the next couple of weeks or so on a Pillar Talk. Do you think Cloud Imperium has the end goal of making resource collection to build and manufacture items a thing? I hope so. So we know that they have resource collection and an economy, a dynamic economy that will literally use the resources you've got for missions or whatever, and that NPCs have got and collected or whatever. You take that back to a planet, that will be used by a factory node in some way to create something. Yeah? Moved around, sold, cargoes traded, all this sort of stuff. But those items that they're used to build components for the game, and that affects the in-game economy and the sort of like, is the item available? How much is it? All that sort of jazz. Yeah. Now, are players going to be able to craft stuff at any form of level themselves? Well, some stuff, yes, because you'll be able to refine fuel. You'll be able to potentially make some other stuff and food and things like that. But to what extent? Can we make munitions? Can we make items? Can we make ships? I hope that we'll be able to make everything in the future. And I love the idea that bases in like areas like, say, Proro, yeah? Cool, load of really, really, really rare materials somewhere on Proro. An orc builds a base there. Now, how do you get rid of that orc? Well, if they've got an orc base there, I hope that they are able to produce their own munitions and food and stuff in that base, so they don't have to go to UEE territory to resupply. But if you dislodge and destroy or take that base, then they have to move or they have to put a new base because they can't supply themselves. And that's the sort of gameplay loop I see with that. Or at least I hope we see with that. Do you think they should put a number on the missile warning to indicate size so we know if a large torpedo is inbound and run away? Yes, I actually think that's quite a good idea to some extent. I'd like to see different sort of systems for different ships that enable you to have different UIs and different tracking. Like, you know, maybe some of these sort of like systems or computer blades or something you can have for your ship allow you to have better combat UIs, and they can tell you a lot of information about what's going on and what you're being targeted by, stuff like that. I'm doing well, thank you very much, Wazzy. F7CM. It is medium, and nothing on it is medium. So don't worry about... Okay, so it's a medium fighter. It's not a medium-sized ship. So medium, heavy, and light fighter don't necessarily mean the size of the fighter. I am going to buy so many spaceships. And it doesn't matter about what component size it is either. Really. Although some stuff might be indicative of...
Guess what do you think will be the next unannounced straight-to-flyable ship? The Dude.
Thank you very much, GFO Big Lebowski, for the donation. Very much appreciated. If anyone else wants to support the channel by giving me money, feel free to. Thanks for all the updates. It helps me stay on top of the game development. If you had to guess, when do you think the next unannounced straight-to-flyable ship will be? We've obviously got to have the Grey Cat Rock for 3.11. We could see another surprise, but it's unlikely. For 3.10. I would expect to see something else in 3.11 though, yes. Probably that Tavaran fighter. That seems reasonable. But that's not a confirmation, that's an I reckon. Thank you so much, very much appreciated. Recently, I read news that Chris, we talked about that already. I'm out of the loop. But when are they going to work on optimization, especially with the upcoming Elite Dangerous expansion that have Royal Competition that performs well? I think, well, we'll see how the walking on stations / planets in Elite Dangerous goes. Good luck to them as well. I think that's it's only going to aid Star Citizen's development, though, that sort of stuff. I know people say competition. I don't think it's competition. I think there's differences, huge differences in the way they do the development and that sort of stuff, and the core of their game beyond space MMO. So I will be looking at Elite Dangerous myself, actually, in a bit more detail, because it looks like they've got some cool stuff. But optimization-wise, obviously they've got server meshing coming up. They've got iCache and lots of general server things. They've been working on Vulkan integration and the Gentile renderer, which is going to be huge for client-side scalability and improvements. Server meshing, not this year. You might see more and more server meshing bits done this year, and stuff done in mind with server meshing. I expect server meshing to be almost ready by the end of this year for the static server meshing. The Steampunk Devil, thank you very much, sir. You've become king of channel. Shit, son. Boat ton of cash. I appreciate you, sir. I will do little salutes and curtsies. Oh, he's doing a curtsy. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, you star. You monster. I dig my Ridge Wallet. Bam, not sure. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. Hashtag shill for Ridge Wallet. If I do... Yeah, I'm only going to look at products that I like. Well, I'm only going to shill for products I like, so... them giving me the ability to test it and mess around with it first is very, very appreciated. But I do think I like it. So for me, stuff like... I am super anxious about losing things. That's the only concern I have with that small Ridge Wallet. But over the last 4 years or so, I've got a lot better at not losing things. And I like low-profile traveling so that I don't have to worry about so many things. So I want to carry the least possible I can and get somewhere as easy as I can. It's like I don't want to carry more than one bag on a plane and have everything in that single bag so I can keep it with me on the plane. Do you see what I mean? Not that traveling is much of an issue at the moment, but it will be again soon. I'm 60 years old now. Will this be released before I'm pushing up daisies? I don't know how healthy you are. I would expect so. I'd expect Star Citizen to be released in the next 5 years or so. People are like, what? I'm your cousin. Oh, I'm glad. By When do you think we will see work on personal hangars and houses? Doesn't have to be with our land claim beacons, but could be on the outskirts of major cities. So I would expect to see some... So it looks like they're trying to get physical inventories done for 3.12 at the end of the year. So, and probably at the same sort of time, iCache and full persistence. So you could start to see some of the more persistent hangar things again, or persistent habs, because we've had persistent habs before, and we sort of changed that. I say persistent habs. Each location that we spawned in, we could actually place stuff in those areas. The room might move around, but it would keep all the stuff in that room whenever we respawned, or logged back in. But hopefully we're going to have a bit more customization of that in the not too distant future. I mean, we'll probably see potentially a little inkling of customization and hab persistence and the ability to rent space and things like that. Pretty potentially in 3.12. It won't be like full physicalized addresses or anything. What? No! Steampunk Devil. That's a monstrous amount of money. Naughty. Naughty. I don't... the problem I have... Okay, so thank you so much. That's appreciated. I don't have a problem. I love your money. Don't get me wrong. And I want your money. Everyone else, I want your money as well. No, so... First time I've seen you on the stream, and you've... That's... Thank you so much. I don't know whether to feel guilty or cool. Because I never know. So it's a lot of money. That's all. It makes me feel weird. Thank you. I've been on a long coaster for Star Citizen for a while now, and I've watched a lot of your content on the way. I threw plenty of money to Star Citizen, so why not throw some your way? That is a lovely, lovely thing. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. If there's anything I can do for you, sir, let me know. Contact at BoredGamer.co.uk if you want me to look at your org or look at a particular feature or video or whatever. I'll make sure you're mentioned in my next month's people that have producers, people that have helped the channel out loads. But genuinely, massive thank you so much. Especially at the moment. So it's sort of like semi-worried about money because of taking on Zin, although I probably shouldn't be. It'll probably be alright, whatever, even if it doesn't go great to start with. And I'm sort of like renegotiating, working out what me and Zin are doing every sort of 3 months or so anyway. But thank you so much, Steampunk Devil, you monster. A lot of money. And yes, I agree. Maybe you should throw money my way. Oh, I don't think I just don't feel I deserve big donations of money. All I do is talk about Star Citizen and play computer games, right? This is like, yeah. When you record your videos, do you prepare a script and then read from it, or do you transcribe what you say afterwards? Okay, it depends on the thing. If it's a tutorial, that will be scripted, fully scripted, yeah. Or at least mostly scripted, because I do go off a little bit on tangents. If it's a news piece, then some of it might be partially scripted, and other bits will just be bullet pointed. And there's other stuff that is just entirely bullet pointed. Depends on the type of video. What are your thoughts on Star Citizen making all the basic mechanics and needed features and then launching the game with it, with all the planets, vehicles and ships they have now, and updating the game more like Destiny or Apex? So yeah, I wouldn't mind them releasing a minimum viable product. But I want a load of the gameplay mechanics and gameplay loops. Gameplay area isn't as important to me beyond having like half a dozen systems. Give me four systems. Give me 4 systems and the gameplay loops. And then I'm pretty happy for a minimum viable product release, and then the building out more to that afterwards. But do you think the MoTrader app will have a big effect on the PU? A huge effect. I think it will be absolutely massive. It will give. I'm going to be taking a look at the grey market. I'm going to be taking a look at loads of different stuff with that financial app, because in 3.10 you can send money, but you can also pretty much buy every ship in game almost now in 3.10 as well. And the potential of persistence carrying over to those major patches means people don't need to buy those ships, although some people are obviously still going to. It's a really interesting one. I think there's going to be a lot more group play, a lot more orgs doing mining ops and that sort of stuff. Oh, no. Steampunk Devil, you monster. Fair enough. Here's more. Thanks. What do I say? I don't want to encourage you. I do want to encourage you, but I don't want to encourage you. There is a streamer paradox. The streamer paradox is I want to make money doing what I do and making a living and making a good living. It's not just a living, it's making a good living playing computer games and doing streams and stuff, yeah? People send you money. Now, the paradox is that you feel slightly guilty if you're not a prick when people donate large amounts of money, or at least you don't know why. So maybe I just don't have enough self-worth. But also, you want them to do it. So I'm always sort of in two minds. I'm like, thanks, smug face, thanks. Give me your money. But also, I don't deserve that. Thank you so much, sir. Very much appreciated. I wish I could put out content like you do and stream. Why don't you? I think if I've proven anything with my YouTube coverage through the 4 years I've done it or so, anyone can do YouTube. You just need a bit of determination and effort, find your feet, and then persist. If there is anything I can help with, I will do what I can. Yeah. So with a stable Star Citizen build, I'm hoping with 3.10, we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping to play more during the day, and I'm hoping to do more. We've got Zin working for me as a full-time employee, playing computer games and editing for the channel, and managing the community to some extent, and hopefully weaponizing BoredGamer, Discord, and the organisation and stuff. So if people want to get involved and help filming B-roll, filming some silly stuff, there will be opportunities to do that, hopefully in the very near future. And I'll make sure Steampunk and some other people like Vampire and Robert Johnston and anyone that's obviously really helped the channel out gets a little bit of a pushed ahead of the queue. If there is a queue, hopefully there's a queue. I mean, it's like a dozen people show up, and I'll be like, okay, fuck it. No, that's you're all special. You're all special to me. But I'm hoping Zin will organise that for me in a much better way. But yes, there will be things you can help with for sure. And you don't need to help financially. You can. Feel free. People want to chuck money at me. I will love your money. Mwah. But you don't need to. There's loads of other ways of helping. At the moment, the best ways of helping the channel, beyond financially or Patreon or becoming a member or all that sort of jazz, is feedback and sharing videos and honest feedback about stuff like, you liked this, you didn't like this, I think you should do this, what's your take on this thing, I don't agree with you on this thing, but I think, can you see it from my point of view? That sort of stuff, I love. I don't mind my viewpoints or I like this gameplay loop or I hated this gameplay loop or whatever to be challenged. I'm fine with people having their own opinions and expressing them. I think that when it comes to the gameplay mechanics in Star Citizen, it's so essential for people to have their say in a civil manner. If people are there just to shit on everything that you like, just to shit on it, just because, lol, I can, you're an idiot, or you don't respect it. If people are just literally being inflaming and not saying, no, this is what I think and this is why I think it, if they are literally trolling, that's different. But I honestly think there's a lot of people that need to be able to have their say and vent and talk about this sort of stuff. Yeah, there's a little tiny, I'm a bit of an arachnophobe, there's a little tiny spider on my keyboard, but it's too small for me to care about. And I've been showered with far too much money. Jeremy Langworth, thank you very much. Jeremy Langworthy. Thank you very much for becoming a BoredGamer member. Much appreciated. 3 stars. There's too many things on my money bar. Steampunk Devil, you're a monster. You are Steampunk Monster. Steam. Oh, you monster. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will bathe in your money. Bathe in the bluth. What else have we got? What ship besides the Hammerhead currently has the highest number of gun hardpoints? Retaliator? Maybe? What can we expect from mobile board gaming phone streams if you can't leave the house? No, I did a toilet... Okay, you're not allowed to do that. Okay, I was very drunk at CitizenCon 2015, and I was streaming to Saurus while just walking around. I walked into the toilets to have a piss, and everyone was behind me. It was weird. It's like, Aaron behind you? Yeah, I'm in the urinals. Oh, God. Not do that ever again. Yeah, the Retaliator is probably... makes the most sense. Oh, sorry, mate. Neck and back have been killing me lately. Actually, they've probably been keeping me alive, but they've been hurting. Recently, no, that's what I talked about. I'm out of the loop, but are they going to work on optimization anytime soon? Oh, we talked about that already. I think I've gone back up to the top. Come to Leicester City. Turn over Manchester United for me, please. What do you mean? I'm not a footballer. I don't football. I've been to football matches before. I've watched some football live with one of my ex-girlfriends. Wasn't not massively into football. I can see the appeal. Like I used to quite like American football. That was pretty cool. I like the tactics that I used to playing the games. So what I want. No, I lost my train of thought. But come on, Leicester City. Fuck it, why not? Yeah. But good luck to your team, sir. Will players ever get their own personal hangars in the verse? So you should do. That's still the plan. You should be able to build your own bases. There should be physicalized addresses for habs that you can rent or buy on planets, and hangars for that as well. There'll be public hangars as well. They're sort of like the more publicly ones that you'll land at the airports. But I think they want both. So typically I avoid politics and stuff that's entirely irrelevant Star Citizen rather than preaching random stuff. Did you that limited edition? You monster. I talked about minimaps earlier, Zero Foxtrot. I'm not sure if that question... I'm not sure if I'm just behind on the chat. When do you think we'll see full persistence come to Star Citizen? So the tech for full persistence, I expect it might actually be done this year to some degree. But that will just mean that you can place an object down and the server will have to have that object persist in that area. Yeah? So they need the iCache for that, and then they need a few other little sort of like tweak systems. Now, that might not work fully properly until they have server meshing. And full persistence doesn't mean that you have no more resets or anything like that. It just means that you can place an object down and it persists there. You could hide weapons cache somewhere. You could have that sort of stuff. But they're still going to have the like dynamic universe simulation creating content. And I think that's how they're going to do some salvage sites. Like if a ship's destroyed, it might create a salvage site on a planet where it's crashed. Where it's crashed, simulated to have crashed. So the server instance that you might have been on either was bugging out or it might have been the chat server overflowing rather than the actual in-game server. So the names on the server don't necessarily mean that they were all in that server. They have tested servers, and they do occasionally test servers with larger than 50 players in. I don't think they're doing that in the PT at the moment, though, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure if I heard this right. When the game is finished, before it goes live, everything is wiped. Probably. Even Ship Sport. No, not Ship Sport. You've bought them with real money. That is not wiped. Oh, you will be able to start the game with that. What's next to be built and flight ready, in your opinion? After they're done with the current ships, the Star Runner, the C2, and the 100i. Yeah, so let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. See resources. You just probably update my ship tracker. I say my ship tracker. Rightio and so 7 and Rightio maintain the little cool global ships and ships that are being built and the concepts and sizes and all that sort of stuff. So what else do we have that's most likely to get done? So we know there's sort of like they're probably going to be straight to flyable or concepted. A Tavaran fighter, which looks like it might be straight to flyable, but we'll have to wait and see. Xi'an cargo ship, and a mobile refinery. But also, there's some ships that need to be completed. So what do we have? The Nautilus, the Ranger bikes, the Kraken and Privateer, the Ares. Ares is probably reasonably soon they want to do. The SRV, the tractor tow ship. They're putting tractor beams up for 3.12 at the moment. But the handheld ones. The Corsair, Vulcan, the drones. We'll see when the drones turn up at some point. We obviously saw the F8, and we've seen the Idris and the Javelin to some extent. We've seen this F7A as well. We've got the Apollo. We've got the Starlifter A2 and M2, not just the C2. Santok Yi, so that's the medium Xi'an fighter rather than the light one. Got the X1s, which is the other little bikes. The Vulture. Vulture's probably quite high on the list of things to complete. Might even see that in Q4. If we're lucky. The Nova Tonk, I know that's being focused on. We've got Titan suits as well at some point. The Pioneer, that's a lot further out. Polaris potentially before the Banu Merchantman. Obviously the Banu Merchantman as well. But Polaris potentially before the Banu Merchantman. The Hull C, it looks likely to be something soon. And then the rest of the Hull series A to E. Anything else? There's a Starliner. That actually might get some work. Because obviously they're doing lots of the Crusader stuff. And it's important for moving NPCs around the verse and players. Endeavour, that'll take some time. Crucible, the Orion, big gold mining ship, that's going to take some time as well. Yeah. Hope that was slightly insightful, maybe a little bit. That's sort of like which was more randomly talked. I get a ton of questions about the insurance system. There's a lot of speculation talking about Chris from many years back. Discuss. So expect a robust insurance system. Some ships obviously have insurance because you've bought them immediately with real money. So they have like 6 months insurance, lifetime insurance. Expect that insurance to only cover the hull of the ship and the sort of like the very basic loadout of it. If you change your loadout to the ship, then you're going to need better insurance to cover those items. And I suspect that's where the lion's share of the costs of a ship are going to come in from its items, from its changes that you've made to it. That's what you're going to want to insure for the most part. That's what I understand. That's what I expect. Are there going to be different types of insurance? Probably, but we don't know. Is there going to be statutory insurance on ships so you can't ever lose them if you've bought them? Maybe. They sort of like it implied that maybe if you'd bought a ship, then you'd be able to get it back even if you have to pay like 75% of its cost. Now, if you see you haven't really fully lost it. But most of the sort of like problems with ships and insurance is going to be that ship isn't ready yet. You've lost it. You need it replaced. You have to wait 2 weeks for your capital ship to be replaced because they need to manufacture it. So we don't know exactly what's going on with insurance, but expect more robust insurance systems, potentially different types of insurance, and insurance to cover your components and the value of your ship will be vastly different from just the basic hull of a ship. So lifetime insurance isn't that powerful. What is the Hunter Corvette on that list? Oh, is that on this list? Oh, that's a Vandal ship. So some of these are all Vandal capital ships. Well, not all of them, but you'll see them in Squadron 42. I've said too much. I know you were asking, Board, but players put real money bounties on players. $20 on PayPal. I think that would probably be against terms of service, technically. Oh my fucking Christ. I didn't even see that. Oh, Steampunk Devil. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. You're a monster. You drive a hard bargain. I don't stream due to network limitations, and I've tried YouTube a couple of times, but never could stick to it. I will try to converse and stop by more often. I would have sent this much earlier, but YouTube is being dumb. Yeah, I appreciate you. Do not need to send money to support me. You're more than welcome to if you want to. I'm not going to say no, fuck off or anything. Well, yeah, I just did, but didn't not directed at you, sir. The little salute. Oh, you monster! Thank you so much. Papa needs a new pair of shoes. I'll update the goal to being completed. Thank you very much, sir. I don't drive a hard bargain. You just have more money than sense, which is exactly what I like from my community. Thank you so much, sir. You monster. Yeah, but what is genuinely appreciated as well is not. I fucking love your money. Thank you for your generosity. But what is genuinely appreciated as well is coming by, talking in the streams, asking questions, that sort of stuff. He just donated $200 after donating $100 and $100. So it's a lot of money. It's $400. It's a lot of money. Thank you. I get to play computer games. That's what I do. I just play computer games. Does anyone donate to me at all? Thank you. You monster. I need to have more other donations. So the other thing is, okay, so I'm interested to know what people think. I put donation goals down. Snapped my spine. And I often just have a donation goal there because I want people to know where donation's going. People donate to me, whatever. But I typically have something there. Now, do people see that as a bad thing, having that there? Do they not care about it? Do they see it as e-begging? Do they see it as, actually, that's useful information, because I'll donate if I think that I want to get him that or help him with that? I'm interested to know, do people want to see donation goals there or not? I could just put it in the description, or I could not have it at all. Just sort of curious. I always think more information is better, and transparency of where stuff's going. I don't care as long as it's not constantly mentioned. So that's one of the other things as well. That's the streamer paradox. It's the when you get donations, you want to mention them so that the person feels like they can do it again and they feel appreciated for what they've done. But you don't want to constantly alienate your stream by constantly talking about it as well. You're just hearing my brain just explode with everything. It's eye candy. You're feel for best. I don't fucking know. That's why I ask other people. I'm wrong about half the stuff I talk about. Not the Star Citizen stuff. 100% accurate or 0% accurate all of the time. I'm here for prime content, when you are clearly going to be disappointed, my friend. Thank you very much, though. I do appreciate all the love. It's just for the good manners to thank people for donations. Oh, mate. Look at these monstrous people. Will there be a wipe for this patch? We don't know yet. Cloud Imperium have said that there could be, but they don't know for sure. I'm really hoping we get Pyro Part 1, like half of Pyro's system. So Star Citizen LIVESTREAM said potentially the first 4 planets they expect will come for, I think, the Q4 2020 patch. I think that's what they said. Obviously, that's a leak. They don't know that for sure. That's going to be from someone saying that's what our goal is, sort of thing, within the company, if that's where they got it. Will players ever get their own personal... Oh, we talked about that already. Will dirt accumulation and visible wear on ships be a thing? Yes. And it will be environment-based and what your ship's been doing based. So, yes. Visible wear and tear and... grime, dirt, and environment-based accumulation of particulates. Do you think that we're due for a quality of life update instead of focusing on new features? So the playable alpha thing that they're sort of maintaining tries to do both. They try to have new features and polish it a bit. Now, the polishing is erratic, because some of the new features they add cause a load of problems, and it's still very much an alpha, the game, and only only a fraction of the core features are even done. So, yeah, they sort of like, they try and do both. with the patches, and that causes issues, obviously, a longer development time, and can cause problems where we're disappointed. See, on paper, I love the Reclaimer the most, like the idea of having a proper treasure ship, going out, nomming up other ships, cool, I think it's a cool thing. Ships in concept, like I love the idea of the Pioneer, the Orion, the Banner Merchantman. There's loads. I love so many ships. I'm much more of an economy player than I am a combat player, but I do want to do those shipboardings and stuff like that as well. Do we know if Sherry Heiberg is still at COG? Yes, she's still the archivist there. Will car washes be a thing? I love the idea of players doing car washes now, ship washes. That's an amazing thing. That's an amazing idea, and we could do it with the Pico penguins. But yeah, so I think that the idea is that you can actually have your ship washed once you have grime on there at space stations and at facilities. I would expect that. Quite genuinely. Have you heard any more news on paint schemes or visual ship customization? They're going to be adding more and more skins in the coming patches, and we should see more and more customization of ships in the not too distant future. But exactly when we're going to get aftermarket customization, more manufacturer level customization, and it's going to be added to more ships, I don't know. Are there plans of adding more melee weapons to Star Citizen? Yes. It's going to be advocacy tools, stun batons, lots of different things. How far away do you think Theatres of War is from our hands? Expect to see some Evocati and then wider tests probably a couple of weeks after 3.10 goes out to live. And then based on the feedback from that, and we'll know a bit better where sort of Theatres of War sort of is landing. Do you know if Death of a Spaceman is still going to be part of Star Citizen? Yes. So in some form, they want to have mortality and risk and reward to be a major thing, and you're tuned to your character to eventually be able to potentially die. Though there might be insurance, there might be ways of getting your lives back, because you'll be able to die a certain amount of times in game, but eventually you could die, and then you'd have to create a new character, but you get to send your assets, and they inherit your assets and your ships and your monies and stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world or anything. It's you're still going to not want your character to die, and it will motivate the way you play. You're a nice person, Bored. Many streamers are not, or appear not. We love you. I appreciate that, but I do very little. I literally just talk about Star Citizen, and I'm blunt, and I'm relatively transparent. I think I'm honest, but or at least honest enough. It's sort of like when it comes to my coverage and stuff. Like I like Star Citizen. I'm a massive fan. I certainly have biases in certain things, but I do genuinely I love my community. I get to play computer games and talk about a game I'm really, really into that is allowing me to build a proper business up. I'm employing a full-time employee soon, and then that will be able to hopefully make the quality of my content a lot better. So thank you very much for allowing me to do that. That's amazing. I do appreciate all the love and the ridiculous amount of help that I receive. That's what it is. It's help to build my channel. And it is appreciated. Would you think a decent strategy to fund servers might be to rent high-quality real estate? Perhaps extreme luxury apartments and houses? Lots of games have done that, and that's worked quite well for them, having this real estate to rent and buy in-game. I hope Star Citizen doesn't do it, because it looks really money-grabby. It looks dirty. Do you know what I mean? People really got angry about their land claim sales. I think that was a bad look for them, because it makes you look greedy, even though it's just as greedy as them selling ships. There's some things that just look bad, or you need to work out how it's going to be received by the community. It's one of the odd things about Star Citizen. They're great with marketing sometimes, and then sometimes it's a bit mismatched, or misses the mark. Will players ever get to... we talked about that as well. How do you feel about the no-fly zones? They're broken at the moment. That's what it is. They're not working as intended. I'm fine with landing corridors to and from the hangars when you're by like a city or a major area. What I don't want is an autopilot if I'm slightly off course or out of time or something happens that pulls me down and traps me or is stupid. Don't have that autopilot unless you're massively out of the way of this flight corridor. Instead have fines. Have it warning you that you're there, and I go, well, if you don't move within 30 seconds, we're going to fine you a little bit, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not an awful idea in paper, but the implementation in the PTU has been bad. There's been bugs. There's been problems. Once they clear that up and tweak it a bit, might be great. We'll have to wait and see. I would prefer more freedom, as you would as well, midnight in cities. I want to be able to fly over them. I want to be able to get really close to them. I want to be able to get cool little pictures. I want to be able to see the little people walking around. Yeah, closer the better. You right, Lure? Hello, my fellow board gaminines. Gaminins. Like gremlins? Will we ever get planet coordinates or directions for compass for planets and moons that you know of? They are working out ways of navigating, ways of sharing informational and coordination data, coordinate data, map data with other players. There needs to be ways of, and they're aware of this, that we can navigate around planets and work out where locations are. So we will get something, whether that's going to be a compass, whether that's going to be coordinates, whether that's going to be GPS, whatever. We'll get something. When do you think we'll see updates to exploration? They're going to be building more points of interest, but scanning updates and that sort of stuff. So you'll see more and more little parts of exploration, and then eventually in the next year or so, I suspect we'll have actually quite a big loop for exploration. If Justin Bieber is thrown off a cliff at 150 meters high, how long would it take him to reach the ground, and what would his terminal velocity be? It would be terminal velocity, whatever that is. It depends on what planet he's on. Will shopkeepers ever get a good attitude? Some. It depends on... So they're going to have different personalities based on their archetype. I don't think it's to do with being shy about money. The British and in general sort of like people are sort of like awkward about money. It's sort of like they don't understand why people are generous. Yeah, or they're sort of like very thankful for people being generous, but they also like sort of like I need to pay back your generosity, but I'm not really sure how. Do you know what I mean? With it, just change it from dollars to cups of tea. Wow. I know. I appreciate the support and help and the financial aid a lot. Thank you. Would you consider joining our dear friend, the Spiffing Brit, and shilling for Yorkshire tea? I do like the Spiffing Brit. I will tell you what. I'll try some Yorkshire tea. I've yet to try Yorkshire tea. And I'll have a look to see if I enjoy Yorkshire tea. Got a coffee machine next to me, which isn't plugged in at the moment. I need to plug that in. How do you feel about the 3.10 targeting approach? I have not spent enough time with the new targeting that's got updated from 3.10 in 3.10.0p, the latest PTU patch. I need to play with it a lot more. I didn't mind it when they changed it to 3.10. I was like, oh, I can see what they're doing here. I need some tweaking. Now, they have done a lot of tweaking with it. I need to play it again and see what it's like. I don't mind the approach of it being a bit more hands-on and you not having all of the data easily available to you without a little bit of effort, because that makes sense when you're in a single-seater dogfighter, or it makes sense when you don't have the computer set up, or you don't have the systems to detect all of the billions, all the targets that you might be fighting that are around you. So some scanners and some radars and some computers are going to be better at doing other bits, and you're going to going to be based on what you are set up for, and that sort of stuff. So I sort of liked the idea of it. I liked that it was more of a look-based system as well, but I do want a little bit of ergonomics with it when it comes to cycling. Only a little. It doesn't need to. Yeah. So I need to play with it a bit more. Do you think they'll ever add underwater exploration vehicles? I don't know. Maybe little maybe little tiny ones, single man subs. That was probably pretty easy for them to do. How's your father doing? He's doing pretty well. He's trying to, at the moment, fix the side gate in the house. He's doing pretty well. He's probably going to be looking at getting some radiotherapy treatment, which I don't know how that's going to affect my daily schedules or anything, because obviously I need to help look after him. And he might do really well on that. He might have a terrible time on that. So we'll wait and see. Obviously, a lot of the spaceships in game are probably going to be fine for underwater use. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Maybe all of them, I don't know. Underwater is obviously not the same as in space. It's different forms of pressure and things going on. But thank you very much for asking about my dad. He's doing really well at the moment. It hasn't been worth overly mentioning it because he's been doing so well. Like, it's been a bit miraculous for us, and I'm very happy because of that. Because I did think a few weeks ago that he was just lost, sort of thing. So that's it's weird. It's been a weird emotional roller coaster. It's going to be an update to trading. So 3.10, you're going to be able to send money to another player, or merits to another player, and they're building UIs at the moment to enable for deeper trading, which will come later in the game, probably in the not too distant future, a couple of quarters time sort of thing. 3.12, the Q1 2021 patch maybe. What's the preferred method of contact? Contact at BoredGamer.co.uk. It's easy to get hold of me. Steam Punk Devil, and get me the Discord, whatever's comfortable for you. But email. Is this Mercury Star Runner going to be in 3.11? That's the plan, yes. Rod, what do you think about the Star Citizen Grey market? It's an interesting thing. I love the fact that it's not supported, but not also blacklisted by sort of Cloud Imperium. So they're sort of like, we know it's there, it's sort of fine. We just can't support people that do sales on it. So if something happens, they can't. Well, they might not be able to help you at all. Sort of thing is the idea there. So sort of bear that in mind. There is black market stuff, which is against terms of service, which is a little bit different, which is also on the grey market. Yeah, there's always going to be gold sellers in games, and there's always going to be people with trading accounts and items. So it's an interesting thing. I'll probably be looking at it in more detail in the future. Hover cars for city travel? Well, there's sort of like the buses and stuff that move around cities at the moment. They might have more destinations and stuff in the future. I expect to see Genesis Starliners moving people larger distances, both planet to planet, planet to system, system to system, and just other locations on planets. When will vending machines work? They will work in the not too distant future. They wanted them to work a little while ago. Expect to see the commissary ones work properly in prisons soon. So 3.11, 3.12 sort of time I would expect. When will they fix the lock on system? Currently is broken. Press 1, 2, 3. Doesn't work at the moment in the PTU. They're tweaking the targeting systems at the moment. They did just change a load of the keybinds. When is the next ship sale supposed to be? So they're supposed to have a flyable ship sale when 3.10 goes live. That's the next ship sale I'm aware of. The Rock Grey Cat buggy will be available then. What else have we got here? Just got here, and you may have covered it up in prior love. What? Just got here, and you may have covered it in a prior love stream. What? But what do you think of the special feature of docking defenders with the Banner Merchantman? What do you think it'll be? Okay, there's going to be some synergy with the Banner Defender and the Banner Merchantman, yeah? And the expectation is, from my point of view, light docking. And what I mean by that is like docking, touching it so that you share its warp, its quantum travel bubble, and you can like refuel and potentially rearm or like repairs them, but refuel and use the quantum travel that's probably what I think. So like a really simple, basic dock. Why did they have to change the keybinds? I know! The keybinding changes, it's hellish. I was right, I was doing a quite an in-depth tutorial for update 3.10 and they moved them. I was like, oh my fucking god, really? Why move them? Fine when they were. Maybe the Argo could make a one-person submersible called the Argonaut. I hate you. That's not true, Bomberpa. I love you, but I hate you. Once targeting settles down, will you do an update to your user guide? Yes, so we'll do a proper guide, and hopefully Zin will be able to get some much better footage than I could to sync up with it. And I'll be doing a tutorial as well. And we might do specific, more, slightly more advanced combat and flight as well in the future. What role do you think the Pioneer will have in the actual game? It's going to be building outposts, moving outposts, and updating outposts, and placing them. So targeting might and should potentially be not overcomplicated, but should be a bit more hands-on and not give you all the information at just the touch of a button. Like, I can cycle all my targets, don't have to worry about locking, all that sort of stuff. There needs to be a bit more to it, and because you want ships to be able to share tracking data and targeting data and coordinate attacks, and you want it to be a little bit sort of like more situationally aware and people working out where targets are and that sort of stuff as gameplay mechanics. Do you see what I mean? Like, at least that's what I like the idea of. What's your stance on transparency side of Cloud Imperium? Massively transparent, however, probably not communicative enough when it comes to a lot of the stuff. Like, there's obviously lots of stuff they hide with Squadron 42. That's sort of fair enough, but I would like to see a bit more on that. The Persistent Universe, they need to tell us more. They need to show us more of the roadmap. I would like to see more videos as well in general, but I want to see more roadmap stuff. I want to see more up-to-date communication on what's going on with each area of the project at any given time. So, hugely transparent, but needs a huge amount more communication as well. You're going to see a lot more piracy gameplay as soon as we have physicalized components, because you're going to sort of have the cargo as well, probably at the same time, and people stealing your ships and probably being able to sell your ships and stuff. So, disabling ships, boarding ships, stealing cargo, stealing the ships, that'll be cool. When do you think they will add base building or being able to place our hangars in or on our land claims? I wouldn't expect you to be able to place hangars potentially on, well, maybe, but not place them. You might have to build them with a Pioneer or some other ship, or like landing pads or whatever. I have to wait and see what they do with that. I wouldn't mind underground landing facilities, maybe. Sort of like ATC, pulls it underground, hides it. Nice way of spawning, despawning your ships. Do you think Burrow might come in 3.12? Yes, I do think it might. Star Citizen Links have suggested it might come in a two-part thing, and I think that's probably reasonable, with 3 to 4 planets starting with in Q4 2020. What other games have we been playing lately? Apex Legends. Oh my god, Titan! I want Titan Suits so bad. Titan Suits. Gift Titan Suits. Well, I do have to... Can you wire UEC to others on Spectrum? So you can go in-game in 3.10, and you can search for the person's handle and send money to them, and they'll get it. But you can't send it in Spectrum yet, directly in Spectrum. But you can do it in-game, if you know their Spectrum name, whatever. It's all good. I would expect you to be able to do it in Spectrum eventually, yes. But not in 3.10. Right, I've got to dash off in a second. I think the only real game I've been playing recently is Apex, other than Star Citizen. Yeah, and doing modelly stuff with Adaptus Mechanicus and 40k 9th edition. Yeah, that's what I'm into at the moment. Right, I'm going to dash off. I'm going to find someone else to string. Because I need to check on my family, eat some lunch, talk to Zin about tutorial, because they've obviously changed the targeting stuff and I need to look at that. Do you think they will make more small, medium cargo ships that are not combat styled? Yes, I do. And I think we'll see a Xi'an cargo ship as well in the not too distant future. Whether that's going to be concept or straight to flood, well, I don't know. What have we got here? Thank you so much for joining me today, though. And thank you so much, you monstrous man, the steampunk devil. Or woman, or person. Thank you for the money. It's very much appreciated. GFO Big Lebowski as well. Thank you so much, sir. Star Citizen 890 Jump. Come on, Leicester City. Sally G. Ixion. Shite. I love you, Shite. You're the best. Osguy. Thank you so much. Zakaril. You're all genuinely awesome people. Thank you so much. Like, really, thank you. I mean, the Steampunk Devil, you have made my day. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Any news on Squadron 42? No. We're currently waiting on the Squadron 42 video. And that should give us a bit more insight. The first thing we should see, though, in the next couple of weeks is another Squadron 42 newsletter update, which will tell us some of the stuff they've been working on in the last month and what they're working on at the moment, to some degree. But we've got to have that Squadron 42 video soon, surely? Yeah? Guys? And 3.10, I would expect it. It looks to me, and from what I've heard, they're pushing for a live build for the end of next week. But that's going to be whether or not the blockers are done. Wider PTU, hopefully early this week, coming up. But we'll have to see. I suppose it's going to be based on the blockers and that sort of stuff, and whether or not they get that done. Who do you want me to stream? I would expect to see the C2 Hercules in Q4 this year, in the 3.12 patch. That's what it looks like. Do you want Maya? Do you want Moist Noodle? Do you want Salty Mike? Oh, we got to go to Salty Mike, surely. But we'll go Salty Mike. We'll never get to host him. /raid. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Very much appreciated. If you want to give any further feedback, you can get me at contact@boardgamer.co.uk. If you want to further support the channel, there's links down below. There's Patreon. There's the YouTube membership stuff, which I need to start promoting more. Thank you very much for people that have joined that. That's really appreciated. There will be some exclusive videos coming out. I'll try and get one up later this week for the month, because I want to get, like, I'd like to do one each week, but more realistically, I'd like to get 2 exclusive videos done a month, and some social posts and stuff like that. There might be some giveaways for the Grey Cat Rock. I think next month's giveaway is probably going to be Mercury Star Runner, and I'll probably do that for a few months, because it looks like they're going to be ready for 3.11. But thanks very much for joining me today. Very much appreciated. Yeah, please like, share, subscribe, whatever. Give feedback. Love you guys. You're the best. Mwah. Peace. Thanks so... The words. It's just a shamble of words now. Love, peace, love, peace. How do you sign off a video?